Hello everyone, my name is Professor Albert Nigrin. I'm the Executive Director and the Curator of the New Jersey International Film Festival, and we're here today to interview two wonderful people who made an amazing film. But before I introduce them to you, I just need to let you know that our International Film Festival is actually celebrating its 30th year, and we're really proud of that. We started back in 1996. We got a challenge grant from the Geraldine Dodge Foundation. They said, can you do an international film festival in the summer? I said, sure. And so we've been doing it for a long time, and we're really proud of that. And we're going to be doing our festival between May 30th and June 13th on the weekends. And our first program is on May 30th in the evening, but then on May 31st, there's an amazing double bill of Jersey films made by Jersey filmmakers. And the first one's called Wrestle Off by Sabatino Ciatti Jr. But the feature film is a documentary that was made by Henry Donahue Frost and Sarah Ann Mack. And so the film is called The Sandy Mack Experience, and Sarah made this film about her dad, who's this amazing musician who's based in Asbury Park, and we're here to talk to them for the next few minutes about their movie. So, Sarah, you got to tell me, what was the inspiration to make this film?
So it's been an idea that I've had for pre-COVID. My dad always plays amazing jams and amazing events, and every time I'm there is such a sense of community and love, compassion, happiness. Like everything is left at the door and you just go in, listen to the music. And I really wanted to tell that story of this amazing community that my dad has helped cultivate.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the idea. I had never dabbled in documentary films. I love them. It's what I watch. It's what I vibe with them. And I had done local film work in front of the camera as like an actress.
Wow.
And so I had reached out to my friends who had filmed that, and they're like, that's not really our scene. Like, we don't do documentaries. And then at one of my dad's gigs at the Asbury Hotel on a Wednesday, I was outside chatting with a young man, and I just said, hey, I want to make a documentary about my dad. And he's like, hi, I'm Henry Frost. I moved to Asbury not that long ago from New Orleans. I film documentaries. And a week later, we were filming.
Wow.
And that's kind of how it happened. And I think that instance sort of shows you what can happen at my dad's events and jams, is like you can create magic. And it was really cool.
Well, he's such a talented guy.
I know, I had to.
And it must have been easy to film him. And at the same time, how did it feel? I know you've been filmed before, you've been on TV and other things. What did it feel like being the subject of a documentary?
I don't. At first, I wasn't sure what Sarah was asking.
I know.
Really,
You
it kind of like.
Sorry.
I know this guy Henry. He does films. He works with Matthew McConaughey, and so, and then she finally came out and said, "Would you, we make a documentary about you? Is that okay?" I said, "Sure. I mean, why not?" And so then they started filming pretty much right away.
Yeah.
And the scene is something that it's kind of hard to explain to see. Years ago, I was always a blues guy. That was my thing. I was kind of a blues snob. I went to a few Grateful Dead shows, so I kind of knew that. But Springsteen was playing, and he kind of has like a blues, especially Steve Van Zandt. That where the passion of the music, you feel it. It hits you, and it's not poppy sounding. So that's what I always liked, and just kind of got into some of the local bands, and I was asked to join this Dead on Live, a recreation of Grateful Dead music by Mark Muller, doing the Pigpen stuff. So I didn't know much about them at that point. I'd been to a couple shows, but I looked into Pigpen, and he's kind of had the same background, blues. His dad had a R&B radio show, and I said, yeah, sure, let me do it. And then once I got into that, I realized this scene is just like it's incredible. These people that go to these shows will go every night of the week. They'll travel, they'll go on tour.
So it's really like a family. I
Yeah.
mean, and Jamily is, I think, a term that's used in the documentary that I did not know anything about.
Yeah, I
Makes
didn't know it
sense.
either until
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's what this is. Like, this is
sure.
the community. And I have to say, I give my dad a lot of credit for giving me the freedom to do this, because I don't know a lot of parents that would be like, sure, make a movie about me, and knowing that I don't have a ton of experience in the film world behind the camera,
Yeah.
that he was just like, okay, Sarah, here you go. And so thank you for that,
So he's
because
very
here we are,
supportive.
like, look, like he let me just go. And I feel like a lot of parents should be like that and let their kids explore and see where they can go and nourish it and let it happen. I'm not going to
bless you.
cry. I'm not going to cry, but I could. But
A lot of parents are not like that. They're
no,
very
they're not.
pushy. I
They
mean,
want
as,
it their way.
yeah, as a university professor, you get to see all types of students, and the trials and tribulations that are put in front of them by their parents is so disheartening. But there are so many other wonderful parents that are supportive, like your dad was for you. All right, back to the movie though.
Yeah.
What is our audience going to see in this film?
I think they are going, they're going to see a lot of dancing, a lot of good music, a lot of heart, a lot of joy, all good feelings. It's a feel-good movie. I would hope that people will get out of it a sense of curiosity about wanting to go and experience this, wanting to check it out, wanting to see what it's about. Hopefully, they'll hear a musician and be like, I've never heard that sound before. I want to go experience that. I want to see what is out there besides, just opening the doors to the possibilities of all these incredible artists and musicians.
Were there any trials and tribulations in the process? I mean, you started before COVID, but here we are, 5 years after. Tell us a little bit about the process. Okay, you started filming the week after you met Henry.
Yeah.
How did you kind of come together in terms of script? Was there a script?
There wasn't. There was just an idea, really is all it was. My idea was to tell the story. Originally, my idea was to tell the Sandy Mack story. I wanted like the history, like the blues, because I grew up with it, and a lot of people don't know that. They only knew the Jamley, the Grateful Dead, the Fish, the jam scene. Yeah. But I was like, I want people to know about the blues. And we touch on that. Like there is a little bit of that. But I'm sorry, what was your original question?
Well, I mean, the process itself, because you have a series of interviews, and I'd like you to tell us who some of the people you interview are. And then you also have some performance footage, and then it's also got this narrative tied in with your dad as the focus. So how did that all come together? I mean,
in the editing process, I have to thank our editor, Mary Angus, because she really took over. Originally, it was Henry and I that were like, let's just do it all ourselves. And it just is a lot of work. So she really put the story together. And I don't really know, as a creative person, sometimes these things just happen organically. Yeah. Where I didn't have a story in mind. And that was always my main focus. I was like, is it going to make sense? Are people going to get it? What is the story? And the story really is the community, is the Jamley. It's not so much, it is you, but it's also like, Tom Marshall's interview was great. And I want to use this quote somewhere. He's like, Sandy's tendrils are vast. And I just had this picture of his hair is octopus tentacles, and there's all these musicians.
Wish I could write lyrics like
yeah, right. And of course it's Tom Marshall, who is an amazing lyricist.
One thing I just want to say the music and the audience, the musicians, the people in the audience, it's really one. And that's what I always try to encourage or let happen, or like she says organically, because it really is important. And I say it a lot of shows. If you people aren't here, this is called a rehearsal, and I don't like rehearsals.
Right.
So we involve sometimes there's some people from local drum circles will come up and sit in, and people just in general will come. That's how James Maddock got involved. Just came, he was there, he wanted to sit in, and it was great. So it's not scripted at all. We rarely have a set list or a song list. Just kind of figure out what songs we all know. And it's different musicians, so it works.
And that's kind of cool, because that's sort of how the movie was made. There was no real plan in mind. I did the interviews, so I had my questions lined up for what I was going to ask everybody. Right. And the two different styles of interviews was Jamley members and musicians. And those were really the heart of it. That was the story, like them telling what it's like to be at a Sandy Mack Experience. The musicians telling us what it's like to jam with him and how it's impacted them as an artist. Yeah. And that's really that's how I think it's great.
I mean, I think
just love hearing about it.
It really comes together very nicely, and I think what our audience will definitely come away with is wanting to go.
Right. That's the hope, right?
But I think, you've been doing this for so long. How much longer do you think you're going to be doing it?
I've asked him that too.
I mean, I always say that I'm going to keep doing this until
until
I'll
it's not
die
fun.
showing
Until it's not
movies.
fun.
It's a lot of fun. So until it's not fun, and the interesting part for me in the movie, that some of the people they interviewed, like Dogs in a Pile, and Jeremy said, what I like best is at the end of the show, Sandy, like a preacher, he testifies, and then they cut to me saying, hallelujah, those kind of things. Or, Tom, the Tendrils, and other, there's so many musicians interviewed that jam with us.
And there's so many more. I'm like, we need like a part 2.
Yeah.
So much footage.
Well, they all have their own perspective, and they bring something, and they get something, which is that's part of what I like about what you did. So.
Well, it's a wonderful film, and we're really excited to show it. We're going to be screening it on opening weekend. It's going to be taking place on Saturday, May 31st. And the great thing about our festival is that it's still a hybrid, which means that the film will be available online for 24 hours on that day, starting at 12 midnight. And then that evening at 5 o'clock, there's going to be a screening in person with these guys there, and they'll be taking questions and answers from the audience as well. So you've got to absolutely come and check out our film festival, and especially this show. The New Jersey International Film Festival, you go to njfilmfest.com. When you get to our homepage, you click on where it says 2025 New Jersey International Film Festival. It says tickets, info. You click that red button, and then our beautiful website opens up at Eventive, where you can buy tickets. And tickets are really moderately priced.
Yeah.
$15 lets you watch it during the day, and then you can come that evening to interact with the film. And we have some crazy people that do that. They'll watch the film during the day, and they'll know the film, and then they want to interact.
I feel like the Jamley's really going to show up. You're going to see
Definitely
everybody that's in the movie is going to be in the audience.
Where is the physical location?
The physical location is at Rutgers University at 71 Hamilton Street. We're attached to the Zimmerli Art Museum, and the name of the hall is Voorhees Hall, room 105. And you can get driving directions and all that stuff at our website. It was so lovely meeting you guys. Are so dynamic, and what a team too. I think.
I wish Henry was here, but he's like.
Yeah, he's too far away. I think.
He's
got to make those movies.
Yeah, I don't know where he is, New Orleans or Texas. He's just bouncing around with Matthew. So.
Well, you guys are going to be there. That's the important thing for
Henry
sure.
Should be there too. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think he will.
Great.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
Well, thanks so much again, you guys.
Thanks, Al.
And we'll see you at the screening.
Awesome.
Thanks, folks.
Thanks a lot.
You.
Appreciate
nice
you.
to meet you too.
I think Sandy is like one of those guys. I think he's like unintentionally not trying to, but is the music scene in Asbury. He invites disparate people from disparate bands, and without knowing it, has introduced them, to each other, and then they go on and collaborate. And his tendrils are vast.